What's up guys, welcome to this new video. The topic of today will be how to warm up for calisthenics and why it is so important to warm up. And since I just got home and I'm not warmed up yet, I thought we would just do it together. So before I show you how I warm up, I will just quickly talk about why warming up in calisthenics is so important. So in the past I didn't really take it that seriously to warm up very intensely. I always just jumped into my handstand sets. What came out of that was a wrist injury that took me out of the game for like 4 months or so, and I just don't want that to happen to you. So I really tell you guys, focus on warm-ups. Really warm up your wrists intensely. When you start, how it's for me, my wrist feels really cold and don't have much mobility, and I know that I'm done with warming up when that is all gone. And it really feels mobile and I can do handstand without pain. So in calisthenics it's most important to warm up these few joints. First thing is the wrist joint, the second thing the elbow joint, and the third thing the shoulder joint. Your scapula is something else that you need to warm up, but that's not really to prevent injury, it's just to prevent doing the wrong form and just to get into the habit of starting with good form from the start. In calisthenics, these are the few joints that you need to warm up very intensely because they're under the most pressure, especially in like straight arm exercises like the front lever, the planche, the handstand. In the handstand, your wrist is under a lot of pressure because it's at a 90-degree angle under pressure, which it isn't used to. In the planche, your elbows and shoulders are under a lot of pressure because your shoulders are in an angle that they're not used to. Your shoulders might be used to regular push-ups where your angle between your wrist and your shoulder is like this, but then in planche it's like this, and that's a whole new angle that your shoulder isn't used to, so you really need to warm up for that. As well as your elbows in planche, because they're completely straight if you're doing it with correct form, just like in the front lever, they're completely straight. And that puts a lot of pressure on the tendons right here, surrounding the forearms and the bicep, and also the joint, which is where you need to warm up the joint. Alright, let's start with the warm-up. The first example that I will show you is how I will warm up if I will be training handstands. So as I told you guys, in the handstand, what's under the most pressure is the wrist. So I just start by leaning into the wrist like this, and basically just do some reps of leaning until the wrists don't feel so stiff anymore. Don't go very hard, just do slightly. This is the first exercise. Then do some wrist circles just to get them warm into both directions. Do some elbow circles as well, get those warmed up, both elbows in both directions. A bit more reps than I'm doing right now, but I don't want to stretch the video for too long. Same thing for shoulders. Just get everything moving. Don't worry if it's like making noises like this. I don't know if you can hear it, but don't worry. It's only bad if you got pain. Just move everything. No pressure on there, just get loose. Next thing, keep warming up the wrists a bit more, stretch into it a little bit, nothing too hard, don't get hurt, but just lean into the wrist. Then get yourself some parallettes and warm up your elbows by doing some wrist extensions on the knees. Really, these should be very easy, it's just to get the joint warm. Just do like 10 reps of those. Then do some push-ups on the knees. Again, really easy. Not trying to lose any strength. Just getting all the joints warm. This time the shoulder as well. Do some light stretching like this. And then get your mind ready for the handstand. This is really important because if I would just start like this, I would just jump into the handstand and try to do my set. I would just fall over and not really complete anything. So what I do, I talked about this in another video already. It's called successful kick-ups. I just kick up into the handstand, kick up again, hold for a second,
Hold for a second. Fix your form. Just like try to play with it.
Don't try to hold it for like 10 seconds or break your record or something. Just get up, hold, get up, hold, get up, hold. And always go down after like 2 seconds. What you shouldn't do is like this, where you're not in the handstand at all and you're just kicking up and doing some uncontrolled stuff. That's not the goal. The goal is to get into the feeling of holding the handstand, but not maxing out. It's just to get your mind ready for it. Alright, now for the second example, I'm only going to do 2 today, but for the second example I'm going to do a warm-up that I would do if I would do a front lever workout, so a pull workout. Here, you don't have to focus that much on the wrists, like you would in the handstand or in the planche warm-up, because those aren't under a lot of pressure. But still, if you do something wrong, you can hurt yourself. So I would still do a slight warm-up, just do some leaning, just like in the handstand warm-up. Get those ready, do some circles, and once they don't feel so stiff anymore, you can move on to the other stuff. Also, same thing as in the handstand warm-up, get everything loose, get moving, you know the deal. Alright, now for the important part, get yourself some dip bars or low bar. This is to warm up your elbows and to get into the feeling for retraction. Elevate your feet or just stay on the ground. Activate your scapula, retract your shoulder. And turn your elbows inward and outward. Just rotate them like that to get them warm. Then do some raises like this, where you just push up your hips. Maybe do some pull-ups. Not a lot, you don't want to lose your strength, especially not your explosive strength that you need in your first exercises, but just get everything warm, get used to retracting instead of just slouching like this all the time. And that's what I would do for the warm-up. I would obviously do it for a lot longer, and I would stretch these into like, I will always do like 3 rounds of just leaning, moving, then doing some retraction activation, then leaning and moving again, just like in the handstand warm up, and just repeating that for like 2 to 3 times. And then once I feel warm and ready to go, I will start with the workout.